turn to the conspiracy in Canton. I cannot get enough of the Karen Reed trial. And we got a hot mic spotlight on the Karen Reed trial right now. Boston Herald crime reporter Flint McColgan will be joining us. Let me set the stage here. The week begins with, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see our graphic. Nice work, everybody. Keeping up with Karen Reed. There they are. Jen McCabe. She was on the stand at the beginning of the week. Crucial character in this whole trial. The defense sees Jen McCabe as the ringleader to this cabal of cops working together as one to frame Karen Reed for the death of her boyfriend, police officer John O'Keefe. I'm going to say she performed better on the stand for the prosecution this time around as opposed to the first trial. Flint McColgan from the Boston Herald, absolutely the best reporter's nickname, crime reporter Flint McColgan with us. Flint, the strengths and weaknesses of Jen McCabe, and I'm not talking about the eye job or whatever plastic surgery she had done because she looks amazing.
Well, so she certainly can keep up with. It seems like she's holding her ground. She's fighting back under cross-examination by the defense, and so I think that she's holding up better than she did in the last trial. So obviously she's sticking by her story, and she's saying it with confidence that Karen Reed told her to perform that search that's at the heart of everything, and she's not backing down from that.
I mean, for the defense, Alan Jackson, the lead defense attorney for Karen Reed, I mean, if you're going to shake someone, this is the one you want to shake, because they're kind of pinning everything that she's really the quarterback of this idea that there are, this grand conspiracy of 12, 13, 15 people in law enforcement and adjacent who are working together, as one to keep a secret, never break from it, and bury Karen Reed. So I think that was a sort of a big positive for the prosecution, that she held herself together, never stumbled, never wavered, and was cool. Yeah?
Yeah, if she doesn't if she doesn't stumble, it's going to be harder for the defense to say, look at this, she wasn't ready to, she can't stick to her story. She stuck to her story pretty well. I think they're going to have a hard time nitpicking it. It's really whether or not the jury believes her story, not whether it can actually be broken down.
Yeah. Flint McColgan, crime reporter for the Boston Herald, covering this thing just every day. Yesterday was day 10. The defense set out to paint a picture of a shoddy investigation by police. They had this guy, Lieutenant Paul Gallagher. He's the first local cop to show up on the scene, 6 o'clock in the morning when they call. He's the first to get there. This is the guy that took blood samples from the snow of John O'Keefe, put it in red Solo cups, put the red Solo cups in a Stop and Shop shopping bag. You got a real problem here. I mean, you're the defense. You're saying this is complete and utter incompetence. But this guy kind of dug in and went the other way and said, well, I didn't have much with me. So the prosecution is saying it was quite resourceful that he got the blood samples at all, and that was what was available. How did that play?
Yeah, just to be clear, he wasn't the first local cop on scene. That was Steve Seraf, but he was the first supervisory cop. He was the first lieutenant to take control of the scene. So how it played is, obviously, if you've watched any episodes of CSI or Law and Order or something, you know that red Solo cups and grocery bags are not, sterile evidence gathering equipment. So obviously, I don't think there's any way to make that seem like it's professional. So that's never going to look good.
Where are the red Solo cups from? Are they from the back of his car? Are they from the back of Karen's car? Are they?
Well, he said he doesn't know where the grocery bag's from, but we do know where the red Solo cups came from. There was another Canton lieutenant who lives right across the street, and so he went over there and got them.
Now, interestingly enough, the guy that's across the street, again, another police officer, it seems like everybody's a cop. Why didn't they ever check the camera? That became an issue. This guy across the street, the neighbor, has a camera that shines down on his front door, might show you a nice picture of the front yard across the street which could tell you everything you need to know. Why didn't the cops, who are, again, being painted for having a shoddy investigation here, they never went into the house, the actual owner of the home who hosted the party the night before, and you got a dead guy on the lawn, you don't go in there, and you don't check the camera that's across the way with a possibly very clear shot.
Well, that's exactly it. So what Gallagher said was that he knows what that camera captures. He's picked up packages from that fellow cop's house before because they work in the same station, and so he knows what the camera captured, and he said it doesn't have a clear view of it. That it's just a little of the porch and a little of the front yard of that house. Obviously, in Cross, the defense was like, well, you don't know that. Maybe it has multiple angles, but that's just the one that he uses when he's checking for packages. And but he never confirmed it, and he said the reason he didn't get it is because he knew what it captured and didn't capture.
Huh. So this guy Gallagher, I don't think he was great for the prosecution. He admitted he saw no taillights on the ground. He was the guy. You look at the video. It's been out there just repeatedly, but the video of there's a cop and he's got a leaf blower and he's blowing the snow around John O'Keefe's body on the front yard, and he's blowing, and in that moment he's trying to clear away the snow. This guy says, quite honestly, that he never saw any taillights on the ground. Days later, when the very corrupt Massachusetts state trooper Michael Proctor took over the investigation, he all of a sudden found 46 pieces of taillight. So the guy with the leaf blower finds none, and then the state trooper comes and finds 40. Some of them are red. You see that in snow very clearly. That's a big problem. He also defended his decision not to search the house, or at least knock on the door of the man. I would knock on the door. If there's a dead guy on somebody's front lawn, I'm knocking on that door, at least to say, sir, you might notice there's a million, sirens out here and rescue vehicles and trucks and fire department and everything like that. Also, a dead guy is on your yard. They don't knock on the door. They don't tell the owner. And the owner is the cop, Brian Albert, who has investigation in his bloodstream. No curiosity, says he slept through the whole thing. It's just unbelievable. So the other big thing that is fascinating, and we've lost Flint McColgan. He's got a tough signal, too. The Bushman is getting killed today, folks. Let's just be honest. People can't work their microphones. We're muted. I don't know. But I'll tell you this. I am most fascinated by the tale of the voicemails. This is unbelievable. So Karen Reed, she says, she left 52. She made 52 phone calls to John O'Keefe after she left, right? Okay, you've got the voicemails of 52 calls starting at 12:33. So she makes calls. In that 3 minutes that she makes her first couple calls, she gets to John O'Keefe's house. He's that close. She reconnects to the Wi-Fi at his home at 12:36. The calls stop between 1:18 and then they resume again at 4:38 in the morning. And now the tone of the calls switches. First, take a listen to her frantic voice messages she left on O'Keefe's phone.
John, I fucking hate you! John, I'm here with your fucking kids. Nobody knows what the fuck you are, you fucking pervert. Yeah, it's 1 in the morning. I'm with your fucking niece and nephew. You fucking pervert. You're a fucking pervert! John, I'm going home. I cannot babysit your niece. I need to go home. You are fucking using me right now. You're fucking another girl. Kim's sleeping next to me. You're a fucking loser. Fuck yourself. John, I just want to cry you. Where's the blankets? I don't see blankets, Harry.
Very interesting. So those are the early phone calls in the night. You son of a bitch, you're cheating on me. You're doing all this stuff. Then after 4:38 in the morning, before she finds the body at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's where are you? Where are you? What happened? Why are you not home? Because you never made it there. So, I wonder, Flint McColgan from the Boston Herald is back with us. Flint, what's the What's the jury doing, during all of this? How are they taking this?
So, as I said last time I spoke with you, this jury is quite a bit less reactive than the last one. There are quite a few more obvious note takers, but um, obviously, I just had some technical difficulties. What exactly were you speaking before
I was
rejoined
playing
you?
the frantic phone calls. They show
Okay.
her jealous and rageful, and but then they turn. The later calls are more about concern. So the prosecution, it sounds like a woman who didn't just kill someone. She made 52 phone calls. After you kill someone, the prosecution is obviously trying to go with the idea that she made all these calls because she had to cover her tracks. She killed the guy, and now she has to show that she didn't know and she didn't. And so she makes 52 calls to cover her tracks. I mean, who does that after murder for the first time?
And they do sound frantic. She's screaming in them. She's accusing him of cheating with someone. They do seem highly emotional, and they unless she's an amazing actress, I don't see how they could point, like how they would be perceived as her just trying to cover her tracks.
Look, I would say this. If I was John O'Keefe's friend and he did not die that night, the next day I would say, John, we got to talk. You got to get rid of the lady that called you 52 times last night. I mean, she's going nuts. You cheating bastard, the whole thing. Keep in mind, she had already been sexting with one of the other cops that's in the house. You're yelling at him for being a cheating bastard, and you're saying, hey, do you think I'm hot? To Brian Higgins, an ATF cop, right, who was at the party and, was with O'Keefe that night. If, in fact, he went in, he was one of the people. But she was sexting with him, and, he said, oh, I thought you were hot from jump. Oh, how long you wanted me, boom. And they've even made out before they kissed. So she's cheated.
They kissed, yeah.
Right?
And so that is, I think, what the prosecution is trying to lead with these things. While maybe the content of the voice messages don't seem like someone who had just killed someone necessarily, the prosecution has been implying that she could be quite unhinged. Obviously, they said that they're not going to do the Aruba trip in this trial, but in the last one, we had her screaming at a woman who testified that she had screamed that Reed had screamed at her and accused her of making out with John O'Keefe. And so obviously the prosecution is trying to imply an unhinged personality in Reed.
Yeah, she's totally, she does show a bit of erraticism. Now you got to decide, is she flying off the handle like, I'm going to get him? And where is she? In my rearview mirror, it's snowing, it's a blizzard, and she somehow spins those tires and blasts at 60 miles an hour, however fast you have to go, to nail the guy. Flint, have you ever thought that it's possible that both things happened?
That
there was a fight
question.
inside, like John O'Keefe got in a fight inside with these guys. That's where he got the scratch marks on his arm from the dog that attacked him because he thought this guy was, attacking his owner. So the dog rips into the John O'Keefe's arm, and, he's got a wound in the front. He's got the blunt force in the back. Something other than a car happened to him. Did he get in a fight, come out, and then she says, there you are, you son of a bitch, and then she finishes him off. Everybody's right and everybody's wrong. Is that possible?
I have heard a lot of takes on this. I'm always online. This is a new one. I think Billy, you may be developing a brand new angle to this.
I don't know. What if I turned out to be right, Flint? I mean, what would you give it right now if you were doing poly market on this thing? Would you say it's like an 8% chance of being right?
Your theory,
yeah.
An 8% chance. That seems a little high for that. That's a lot of that's a lot of things happening all at once. But you know what? We'll never really know if you're correct or not. It's just what the jury thinks and is the most likely thing. And there are some things that will never be answered.
We're talking to Flint McColgan from the Boston Herald, covering Karen Reed trial daily. So just what are people saying? I can't get your opinion because you are one of the last objective reporters in America, but what are people saying? Who seems to have the upper hand right now, prosecution or defense? This is about reasonable doubt, and for prosecution, burden of proof.
So what reasonable people are saying, we don't know because they're drowned out by fringe cases on both sides. If you're on social media and trying to actually understand the facts of this, you will either have to join side A or side B and be very angry about everything. So
Yeah.
who's winning? It really depends on who you're asking. I would say that this trial seems to be a lot better organized on the prosecution side. But that also just means that the defense could be a lot more focused in their takedowns. They have fewer prosecution witnesses that they have to focus on.
Yeah.
So really, it's anyone's game this early in the trial. But Karen Reed says that a lot of things the defense is trying to use with the clips and stuff are going to be contextualized when her team takes the lead toward the end of trial.
Yeah, I mean, the prosecution keeps putting up all these videos, the TV interviews that she did before this trial began, and they're saying, it's evidence of her preening and peacocking, and that this is, this is not a normal person. I think they've done a way better job this time around of showing the erratic nature.
Yeah, and Brennan's clip today that he played at the very end, the very last thing jurors heard before they were let go for the day was Karen Reed saying, Jen McCabe, it's you or me. One of us is going down. That's a paraphrase, but something like that. It was pretty chilling. I think it was probably pretty effective to end the day that way.
One of us is going down, Jen McCabe. Wow.
I can't remember the exact quote, but that was the paraphrase.
Who's got the rights to this? Ryan Murphy? Did Ryan Murphy already license the rights to this this incredible miniseries that we're all going to be watching? Flint McColgan,
wow.
You are, yeah, probably. You're incredible. You like our graphic right there? Let's see it. There's Turtle
wow.
Boy. We're going left to right as you look at the screen. Turtle Boy, the social media vigilante who's rallied the Karen Reed side. There's Brian Albert, the cop who hosted the party that night, the late night party, the cop who never came out to take a look and find out what's all the commotion about. Oh, there's a dead guy on my lawn. There's Alan Jackson. Beautiful strapless number, wearing a gorgeous Givenchy. He is the lead attorney for Karen Reed. There's Karen. Brian Higgins, the one she kissed, the other cop who she sexted with while she's blasting away at her boyfriend. And there's the beautiful Jen McCabe. Jen McCabe, she looks very different this time around. Anybody talking about her physical appearance and how it's different? Careful, Flint.
Well, the Boston Herald columnist Howie Carr is a very opinionated man on this.
I love Howie.
So he's talking less about her physical appearance than he did last year, but he's bringing up that she's always wearing crosses.
Yes, that's smart.
Yeah, and then I think recently he did like a he had a Canton confidential quiz, he called it, and he was like, which one of these didn't wear a cross on the stand? So obviously the answer is not Jen McCabe.
Yeah, big Catholic community there. I tell you, McCabe had an eye job, and it is a fantastic one. It is really, really nicely done. Flint McColgan, we'll stay in touch. Thank you so much.